Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Ladies and gentlemen, prepare yourselves for a moment of history as we welcome to the stage an icon, a living legend, and a force of nature in the world of music, theater, and activism. Today we're graced by the presence of a woman whose name is synonymous with excellence, brilliance, and power, a name that has reshaped the landscape of the arts. Our guest's voice transcends borders and a spirit that embodies the very essence of what it means to be an artist. Now, for over 2 decades, she has mesmerized audiences across the globe, captivating hearts in over 30 countries with performances that are nothing short of transcendent. Her voice and her music is a celebration of life, a battle cry for justice, and a balm for the soul. Her presence commanding and her message of love, unity, and social justice resonates like a call to the world. Now, born in the cultural heart of Brooklyn, raised amidst the serene landscape of Switzerland, and now a towering figure in Toronto's vibrant music scene. Whether she's commanding the stage in her groundbreaking tribute to Nina Simone, the Nina Project, or captivating millions in beloved roles like Lena in Schitt's Creek and Cora Lewis in Batwoman, her performances are nothing less than a masterclass in storytelling and emotion. And just when you think she's reached the pinnacle, she soars even higher. With her latest masterpiece, Hold On to Love, available now, Shakira steps into the producer's chair, collaborating with musical giants like Keb Mobe and Donna Grantis to create a sonic triumph that has garnered critical acclaim and solidified her status as a musical titan. This album is more than a collection of songs. It's a profound statement of love, unity, and the power of music to change the world. But what truly sets her apart isn't being a lead singer of a 13-piece world music ensemble, or her performance as a backing vocalist for legends like Rita McNeil and Patti LaBelle, nor her multiple Juno Award nominations, her numerous Maple Blues Award nominations, or winning Best Female Vocalist in 2010, her 2023 Juno Roots nominee, 2023 Folk Music Ontario Album of the Year, or the 2024 Her Music Award. It's her unwavering commitment to using her platforms for the greater good. She's not just a performer. She's an advocate, a leader, a beacon of light. She's a phenomenon, a movement, a once-in-a-generation talent whose legacy will be felt for generations to come. It's with the deepest respect, admiration, and excitement that we welcome the unstoppable and the unforgettable, the one, the only, Shakura S'Aida. Shakura, thank you so much for your time and welcome. It's such a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you. I was looking to see who was coming. I was getting very excited because I didn't know who you were talking about. Those adjectives. You're writing my new bio.
I love it. And it's, you know what, everything there, it's crazy that we had the opportunity to have you here with us. And I mean, your career spans over 2 decades in multiple continents.
Yeah.
How has your diverse culture and experiences shaped your music?
I think that I've been really fortunate. You know, I've been in this business for 40 years and really at it probably for about the past 20 with intention. And I think I've been really lucky to have great mentors all the way through, whether they were musical, theatrical, or just people who I was lucky to meet and who could share wisdom with me. And I've also been really lucky to have parents who have been a great foundation, just a great foundation for how to carry myself in this business. No matter where we were in the world, they were consistent in the expectations of me, you know, and those expectations included being community minded, being the best at what I could do, and also being very intentional, you know, and that never changed. So that consistency has always been around.
I love that you've said this, is that it's community minded, and many people, and there's a lot who aren't necessarily community minded. Why is that? Why do you believe your parents had said this is such an important piece of, you know, who we're going to be, is being community minded?
Yeah, I don't think they necessarily set it out. I think it's just how they were raised and how they raised their children, you know, and it's how I raised my children. I don't really think about it. It's just we're going to do things that benefit not just us, but the community around us. You know, we're always going to be making sure that our community is doing well. because if our community is doing well, then we're stronger as a people, and so I don't think it's something that they, would even, if you ask them, it just happens. My grandmother, when I was a little girl, I was with my grandmother in Brooklyn, and we got on a bus, and she sat down and I sat down next to her. And then she elbowed me and she said, "Give your seat to that lady right there." It was an older lady standing up. And I immediately got up and gave her the seat. And when the lady got off the bus, she thanked me and I sat down next to my grandmother. And she said, "Before you sit down, always look around to see who needs a seat before you." And that's basically been the foundation of every single thing that I've done. Who needs to sit down before I do? Who needs to have a drink of water before I take a sip? Who do I need to align myself with so that we're climbing together and I'm not just up there by myself waving a flag and thinking I'm the king or queen of the world.
I love that message. And so can you walk us through a bit of this? You were in Brooklyn, then went to Switzerland, and now you're here in
No,
Toronto.
then went to Toronto. We left Brooklyn, came to Toronto for 2.5 years. Then we went to Switzerland for 3.5 years. Then we came back to Toronto, and I've been here ever since. And the only answer I have for you for that is that my parents are nomads. They have a whole bunch of reasons why they did it, but basically they can't be anywhere longer than 5 years. They just get antsy. They're hippies. I don't know. It's just who they are. So I accept it now. It was a lot harder to accept when I was a kid, but now it's just like, whatever, just I'll see you in a couple of years, whatever.
So did you ever get the opportunity to go live with them as they kept traveling, or were you kind of, hey, we're going to keep
Oh
you?
no, I was with them. I before 14, I hadn't been in one school for longer than a year and a half.
Wow.
So I was with them that whole time, learning how to be a Canadian and eat fish and chips and grilled cheese on the corner, shining shoes in front of Greenwood Racetrack, in Toronto, and then moving to Switzerland and learning how to speak Swiss German and Italian and eating chocolate squished between two pieces of bread, and then moving back to Toronto and meeting a whole bunch of Caribbean kids and learning about reggae and calypso. And, yeah, I've been here the whole time. I mean, if anything has really, I guess, shaped me as a person is this ability to adapt and be, I would say, chameleon like, but remembering that a chameleon is always a chameleon. It's just the colors and the prisms that shift. And that's been a really great skill that I've had to pick up because I was always the new kid. I was always the new person, and with no rules. There was no one gave me a handbook that said, this is how you need to behave now. I had to figure it out, watch, observe, and then I was in it every single time.
I love that you came from, two pieces of bread with chocolate and back to grilled cheese and
Dude, I'm serious. Grilled cheese and what is it? Grilled cheese, fish and chips, and I think that was basically the staple of my childhood. Oh, and fries with gravy. It's just how I grew up.
But you had the opportunity to have such a diverse growing up experience that you're able to share on different platforms and bring with your music. And a lot of people have been saying your performances are known for their emotional depth and storytelling. Now, how do you prepare for such a powerful emotional performance?
How do I prepare? I work on staying grounded. I make sure I stay connected to the musicians who are going to be with me before we hit the stage. I say a prayer to my ancestors before I hit the stage, asking for a reminder that I stay humble, that I stay intentional, and that I remember that it isn't about me, that I stay in the moment. And everything else is, up to the moment, is really, it's about the story, it's about the audience. And it really is about wanting to be authentic in where I am with the stories that I'm telling, but also really wanting to make a connection. Jackie Richardson, the great, when you're saying all those things about me, all I'm thinking about is Jackie Richardson and who she is, and Salome Bay, my mentors, who they are. Jackie Richardson once told me that, you're not out there to change an entire audience. You're out there to change one person's heart. And so every single time I step on stage, I'm not looking for a global phenomenal moment. I'm looking for one person who, in that one moment, needs to hear something that I'm singing about. And that person changes with each moment. You're just looking for those flashes of connections that mean that you're resonating, and you're in something bigger than you.
So you're on stage. We're doing our emotional storytelling. We're doing our performance. It's not about you. It's about everybody out there, and we're hopeful that we get that connection. What drew you to the blues, R&B, folk scene? Why not punk or rock?
Dude, I so could be in rock. I mean, I'm telling you, I am determined at some point in my career to make a rock album. I don't know when it's going to be, but at some point, I don't know how hard it's going to be. I know it's not going to be metal, but at some point in my life, I will make a serious just rock album and be able to fulfill my dreams of being a member of Sweet. Um, but I think most of my shifts have been not just what's been speaking to my spirit in that moment, but they've also been, where do I want my career to go?
Mm-hmm.
Blues was something that always resonated with me. I was very impacted by Nina Simone, Etta James, Bonnie Raitt, Billie Holiday, who was blues and jazz, Ma Rainey, because of my work with Salome Bay and Jackie Richardson, Big Maybelle, because of my work with Bill King. All of these things resonated with me. And I think, unfortunately, because of being a Black woman, what we are presented with when we start working with other people is, hey, you know what? You should listen to this blues song, or you should listen to this R&B song. We get just really siloed, really, pigeonholed very, very early on, whether we want to be or not. In the examples of music that were given in the short time that I spent at Sheridan College, the examples that I was given after being told that I was only going to be allowed to sing Black in one show, and then I wasn't going to be allowed to sing Black anymore. I'm still trying to figure out what that Black was. But I was given the Black role in Showboat, or I was given songs by Whitney Houston and all of this to sing. No one ever thought about giving me a Barbra Streisand song or Shirley MacLaine. And I grew up loving both of those women, and they resonated with me more in some ways than Whitney Houston, or something like that. I love theater because of Shirley MacLaine, because of Barbra Streisand, what they brought to musicals. But I think for me, it was a career move as well as something that I knew coming from gospel. I knew that I could sing blues. And at the time, I could say, oh, Lord, and it wouldn't offend anybody. Whereas if I said, oh, Jesus Christ, my Savior, people would get really offended by that, because I was coming out of a church scene. But I think more than anything, for me, it's really been about storytelling. What lyrics resonate with me? What lyrics am I writing? And how does the music resonate with me? And it just so happens that I'm very guitar driven. I love guitar, and blues and roots are very guitar driven. Folk is very guitar driven in some ways. So those are the things that have allowed me to move forward in those genres. But honestly, the labels are there probably more for everyone else than they are for me. Because again, I'm a chameleon. I'll always be myself. But the colors that I shift and moved within are, they're endless. And everyone else just going to find me, red, green, blue, orange, whatever works for them. But, I'll still be a chameleon.
Keep that mute button. uh,
I've never used that thing before. I'm going to go get me a t-shirt with a lizard on it.
Now, you had mentioned theater and some different influences, but you're actually the biggest mind behind the Nina Project, which is a tribute to the legendary Nina Simone. What inspires you to make the Nina Project?
It's not even so much a tribute as it turned into uh, an observation of her life. I have very few musical female loves. It's not true. I have a lot. But but there are two women that have inspired me beyond anything, and they are Jackie Richardson and Kelly Lee Evans. Those voices to me, when you speak all of those wonderful superlatives about me, I'm thinking of women like that. Their voices are just they bring you to tears and joy at the same time. So I'd heard Kelly Lee doing Nina Simone, she did a whole album of it. And I've heard Jackie doing some Nina Simone. And I think it was in maybe 2014, maybe before that, a woman by the name of Sybil Walker, who used to run the Senator. She was running another place, and she challenged me to do a night of Nina Simone songs. And when I did the evening with Archie Aileen and Robbie Botosh, I hadn't learned all the songs. We hadn't had time to rehearse. So I ended up singing some of the songs, but just speaking the lyrics of the other songs.
Mhm.
And it kind of twinged something in me. And thinking about Jackie, thinking about Kelly Lee, and thinking about my relationship to Nina Simone, what she meant to me as an artist, as a poet, as a songwriter, as a composer, as a band leader, as a classical musician, I wondered what she meant to Jackie and what she meant to Kelly Lee. And so I decided to write this play. And I didn't know what the play was going to be, which is why it's called the Nina Project. What happens when you put three artists together and you start talking about what Nina means to you? And during that process, I was really lucky enough to partner up with Soul Pepper. And I met with a dramaturg that said, you need to have a beginning, a middle, and end. What is the story you're trying to tell? And I started looking at this music of Nina's, and I realized that her story lived in the music that she had chosen to represent herself. Things like Little Girl Blue, things like, Be My Husband, Mississippi Goddamn, of course. I sing Just Because I'm Alive. And I started crafting this play that took us from the beginning of Nina's life to the celebration of her life when she started living in Africa, as told through three women and as told through the music and lyrics that Nina used to represent herself. And so the inspiration came in little bits and pieces, but it all really came together as this celebration of music, art, performance, and how we all fit together vocally and musically, if that makes sense. I don't know. I just wanted to write a play, man. Come on.
When we talk about the Nina Project, I love the passion that you have behind it, especially when you talk about the dramaturge, or our beginning, middle, and end, and let's just put the play on. Do you foresee it being brought back? Do you see it being put on in
Yes.
2025?
Yes, absolutely. I don't know when or how. I was lucky enough to be able to present it on the Legendary Blues Cruise in 2022. And I would like to do it again on the cruise. We had a huge audience and really great feedback. And it was the first time I was ever able to see it again.
Mhm.
And know I would love to workshop it again. And I would love to put it on again. I think I've shifted in how I see it. But it's a great piece of music, and it really showcases artists in a really wonderful way. The last time that I did it, I was able to use a young woman by the name of Alexis. What is Alexis's last name? Can't remember right now. but she's an amazing concert pianist. And I would like to be able to showcase all the parts of Nina. It's not just about her words. It's not just about, the music. It's also about, she was a classically trained pianist who never had the opportunity to do what she loved, which was just play the piano without worrying about singing. She took up singing because she had to work, and that was the work that was presented to her. But she never got to actually just be a classically trained pianist. And I want to celebrate that. I want people to hear what she did in her music, like really focus on that. And at other times, I want people to focus on the lyrics that she chose, profound, deep, even when they weren't written by her, still profound, deep songwriting that, it's really important to me to highlight the songwriting aspect of her and the people who she chose to represent.
I love that. And I hope you get the opportunity to workshop it again. And, certainly that's when we look at doing plays, it's a different beast than television, film, and music
Yes,
for
it
sure.
is.
Do you have any other plays that you want to kind of write and get out there, or just focus on the Nina project in its entirety?
Look, I have so many ideas in my head that I'm surprised my head is still the smallest part of my body. Um, I have so many things I want to do, but I think for now, the one that I really want to focus on is the Nina project. I think it's important to see that to its completion before focusing on anything else.
Fabulous. And I want to jump forward a little bit with you here. You have a new album out, Hold On to Love. Now, this album is available now, but it has a very large suggestion of central themes of resilience and connection. What inspired you to write this album?
Nothing inspired me to write the album. What inspired me to write the music is different, because I wasn't setting out to make an album. I was setting out to just write music. Um, Love in all its many forms. It sounds trite to say that sometimes, but really hard love, emotional love, self-love, um, unrequited love. You know, um, I think my entire life is driven by love in different ways of form, whether it's a love of nature, a love of my animal, a love of life, a love of my children. Everything I do is based on that. My love of being here. And when you see things through that gaze, it really gives you a different perspective. Not just seeing it as, how do I feel about life? What do I love about life? What do I love about my kids? What do I love about myself? I think that really was it. And even deeper, I think my children, my daughters really inspire me to stay authentic in my songwriting, because a lot of times I feel like I'm writing to them, and even though they may not be listening, maybe one day they'll pick up a song and it'll resonate with them, and it just happens to be something that I wrote for them, you know.
When we talk about that love and this passion behind writing, and you've mentioned family and your children, how do you balance the demands of a global career with your personal life?
What personal life? You're so funny. I actually do very well. I have a dog and we walk every single day, and I ground myself in nature. During COVID, I was really, really fortunate to take part in a lot of different workshops and mentorships. And one of the mentorships that I was lucky enough to have was with a gentleman in Australia, and he was Indigenous, and he spoke to me about branding, but not branding from a marketing point of view, but branding in from a where do you live point of view. What resonates with you? Um, how do you connect? Different people connect with different things in different ways. And I discovered that my way of connecting was through the earth. I'm very connected to land. I'm very connected to the communities that inhabit the land. So one of the things that keeps me grounded is staying grounded to the land, walking in nature, connecting with my communities on a regular basis. Even when I'm traveling and touring, I try to make sure that I'm still connecting, by walking, by staying connected to my family, even by FaceTime and WhatsApp, just making sure that I remember who I really am. It's easy to get caught up in who everybody else sees you as and think that that's who you are. But for me, I stay most grounded when I remember who I really am.
I really love that you said that. I'm being grounded, I'm staying true to myself, and this is where I am. It doesn't matter what when you see me, what you think. I know who I am, and that's what we're doing. I love that. And Shakir, where can people learn more about you?
They can visit Instagram. They can visit me I'm not on Twitter or whatever that X thing is anymore, but I'm definitely on Instagram. And I think you can always look on my website at shakuras'aida.com. Shakura on Instagram, it's at Shakura S'Aida. And then I pop up every once in a while at a theater or a festival near you. Just pop up. I don't do anything. I just pop up and then
You're
pop
just
up.
there.
Yeah.
If you had to look back on your career, is there something that you wish you did differently, or something that one of the mentors had said, "Hey, you really should be doing this," and you said, "No, I'm going to do this instead."
Absolutely not. Everything that I've done has got me to where I am. I have no regrets. I definitely have things that I wish I could have done better, but if I'd done them better then I wouldn't have learned the lessons that I know now. So I have no regrets. Um, some of the lessons have been very, very painful,
Hmm.
but yeah, they brought me to where I am now, and I love my life, and I'm happy with who I am and what I'm doing. So, yeah.
Now, if someone gave you a magic wand and you could change one thing about the world tomorrow, what would it be?
Ooh. I would maybe make my dog not bark in the middle of interviews. Um, oof. Um, you know, I don't know. There's so many things. I'd love for there to not be an issue with hunger, with people being unhoused, with children growing up in situations that feel hopeless. I would love it if there was no domestic abuse. Um, I don't know. Yeah, I would love to change our world into a place where we really do focus on community. We really do focus on making sure that our neighbor is sitting next to us all the time, is eating with us, is drinking with us, that our neighbors are healthy. I really wish we lived in a world where we really looked after each other, and where um, envy, jealousy, all these negative emotions seem to be ruling our planet. I think if we lived in a more community-based world, then, you know, I don't think our world would be in such a bad place.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And if someone said to you, what's something that scares you the most, what would you say?
Um, well, I mean, that's the classic, bear or man. Um, I think that the thing that scares me the most is not living up to the full potential greatness that God and the universe have intended for me. I think living a small life. And by that, I mean, we're supposed to be great. We're supposed to be great in all things. And again, I include community in that, and how we look at the world, and how we change the world. And I think what scares me the most is not living up to that full potential, not being a light, not being a leader, not being a participant, not being not being part of greater good.
And Shakir, what's something that makes you smile?
My family, my friends, a really good joke. I have the best bandmates, and I rotate. There's probably about six or seven of them, but We laugh on the road. There's not a day goes by that we don't laugh. And my family, they will laugh when you fall, and they'll still laugh as they pick you up. After they finish laughing, they might, dust you off and cry with you a bit, and then we'll laugh about it. Yeah, I think laughing with my people. I can't even remember the question because I just want to laugh right now. Yeah.
No, that's all good. And Shakira, thank you so much for your time today. It was the last question I had for you today with Coffee with Chris.
Thank
It's been an absolute pleasure. Everyone out there, the legendary Shakira, make sure you get the opportunity to Google and find out everywhere she is.
you. I'm curious because you did say coffee with Chris, and you better not be sipping that coffee because I'm like, I don't have a coffee, but okay. I know it's coming. It's in the mail, right? My
It is
coffee's
in the mail. The coffee is in the mail. I will ensure you get some.
okay.
Everyone out there, remember to smile to inspire and have a fantastic day. Thank you so much.
I thank you so much. Bye-bye.